We on the move today, man. No hands on the camera, of course, but I'm on my way to New York, upstate New York. I've been doing fresh for about so far for about like 2 weeks, going on my second week doing fresh. And so today basically I want to talk about basically like I want to compare like dry to fresh. Like what's the difference? Being that now that I got a sustainable amount of time out here doing fresh, I feel like I can compare the two well now. So first of all, yeah, I've been out here for 2 weeks. DC Alberto hit me up a week ago, and they was like they need help out here, and I was kind of like first I was kind of reluctant about it because my first couple of experiences doing fresh wasn't too good. Like the time restrictions and everything was getting me for real for the most. Like the job is easy, but it's the time restrictions that was getting me. But I've been way better with it this week, so I feel like I can give a positive and a negative for each now. Better now, because at first it was mostly negatives with me about with the DG Fresh account. But yeah, first I'm gonna start with the dry, man. You know I do dry. That's my primary situation right there. Scanning the mirrors. That's my primary situation right there doing dry. But yeah, that's cool. Everything. The pros with dry doing dry delivery for Dollar General to me basically is the fact that you able to move around with your schedule thing and basically able to have move. As long as you can get all your deliveries done in a sustainable amount of time, like before the store closed, you most of the time you good with DG Dry. Like you know, it's not really like a restriction on that. Like you, when you're in the back unloading and everything, you don't need like the actual store associates to be back there with you and help you out with the deliveries like you need for fresh because the stuff got to go fresh from out the. Oh, you see what I did there? Out the freezer into the freezer, the refrigerators and all that. So they got to work that automatically. So you need. That's why the timing thing is very sensitive when you're doing DG fresh. But so that's one of the pros I like about when they come to dry. Another thing about you dry, they tend to pay more because of the amount of stress it is. It's not that much stress with fresh, and actually that's a pro right there because it's not as much stress as like the actual job. Like so they tend to pay more with DG dry. I pay about 80. Well, specifically out of Bethel, $80 a stop, 70 cents, almost 70 cents a mile. The mileage is and DG Fresh is kind of almost the same for real. It's damn near the same, but that's another pro for DG Dry, and so that's two pros. Compared to when you go over to DG Fresh, I would it's more stops, but it's less strenuous. Like besides it being cold and all that, and the trailer and all that, which is not really a big issue. Long as you got some good gloves and all that, you most of the time you good with that. So you got more stops, but like less stuff to touch. You might have a stop. The most you might have with rotainers on one stop is maybe three. Then you got a couple boxes in the freezer that you gotta, couple pallets back there that you gotta unload. But it's still, compared to DG Dry, it's not that bad of a situation. And another thing I realized about being over here at Fresh doing this is that a lot of the trailers is newer, and I guess it had to be because of the simple fact that some cruise control do that sometimes going down a little hill. But a lot of the trailers got to be on point basically when it comes to the DG Fresh stuff because of the refrigerator units. It's got to be more. I feel like most of the refrigerator units is like basically new trailers. You might get a trailer over there DG Dry and it's dying of rust. You feel me? Because long as the wheel is able to turn and everything is able to pass the main things, it's not really ain't got to be brand spanking new. Like a lot of these trailers over here with DG Fresh. Like, of course, the pay change with DG Fresh because of the it's not as much work, but I think it kind of like even out. Even though it's $80 a stop for draw and it's about the same amount in mileage, I feel like it kind of even out because it's about $37 a stop with Fresh, but you got so many stops that basically it's going to even out to about the same thing as like you did the $80 stops, basically, if you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, yeah, they both got their pros and cons, man. But I kind of like it, and I'm out of Pottsville right now with the Fresh thing. It's the same thing. The supervisors, they the same. The supervisors the same way, basically they is. But with this the same way the supervisors is at Dry, they kind of the same way. They very communicative and all that, and they keep in touch, and they in the loop of what's going on, and they good with communication. So I respect that and I like that. Uh, yeah, man, that's just my thing on it. Being with my experience, like I don't know, like most guys might have more pros and cons of DG Fresh compared, but this coming from somebody that did both. Like I did, been doing Dry for most of the time. I've been over here Fresh, I ain't gonna lie. When I first came back, when I came over here, I ain't want to get like too comfortable. I know there was a possibility that I might get comfortable over here doing Fresh because being that it's less work and it's more like it's a little easier. Cause they always say, I hear a lot of people say that a DG Dry driver can come over here and do the DG Fresh thing with no problem, compared to if a DG Fresh driver go over and try to do the DG Dry stuff, it'd be a different story because like we used to a certain type of work environment. We used to pushing heavy rotainers. They is too, but we used to taking off the toppers. A DG Fresh driver come over there and see all them toppers and all that, man, they might lose their mind. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it been cool so far though, man. Like I don't I heard they're hiring within here. So I don't know if I might change over. I don't know if I might do that yet because I don't really, I don't, I'm still trying to figure that out if I might just ask to completely come over here because I believe you could do that if you want to, if you want to complete. But I don't know if I'm completely there, like there yet to do that, but definitely having a positive, very positive experience, doing the DG Fresh thing compared to my last couple times because my last couple times before this time was horrible because the time thing I just couldn't get it right. Couldn't you know I was bullshitting with the time and I was kind of like shitting on my. It was messing up my. It was messing up. What I was trying to. It was. I was messing up myself. Because I wasn't like used to the way that they run. But I knew once I got the time thing figured out, I was gonna be good to go. So one thing, if we're gonna get to the cons, need two cons, two pros. So I'm gonna start with the cons, basically on Fresh. One of my cons is the way the milk rotators is built. Sometimes I had actually had two of my milk rotators fall over, not on me, but they tilted over because gravity. Gravity gonna always win. So they'll build it. It'll be like three stacks, but the outside stack, like leaning towards the net, will be a little more out, and like it'll unbalance it, and it can like fall over if you got like if you pushing it up a slight recline at a store or something like that, it'll tip over, and that happened to me twice. So the second time I knew it was about to happen, but I was hoping I can, try and be Superman. I was hoping maybe I can, make I can avoid it from happening, but it happened. And yeah, check out the scenery right here. Check out that scenery, man. Nice out there. Yeah, the second time I thought I can, avoid it, but I couldn't. But that was one of my cons with the doing the DG. doing DG Fresh was the way them rotainers, the milk rotainer structure sometimes can be very challenging. Yeah, another con I had with DG Fresh. Sometimes the manager driver relationship can be kind of strenuous. Even more with DG Fresh because you actually have to work with the manager more hands on than and with the store associates more hands on than you have to do as a dry delivery truck driver. And it's not so much like I say 95% of the times I was out here dealing with managers, it been cool, like and associates. 95% of the time, but sometimes you might have, somebody having a bad day or something like that, and he might, put that on you and unintentionally. But that's what people tend to do is, if they're having a bad day, they try to unfortunately they put that energy on you as a driver. And it be vice versa. Sometimes drivers do the same thing, and I try not to do that myself. I try not to do that myself, man. I try to like if I'm having a bad moment because I don't have bad days. I have bad moments, and I try to like even if I'm having a bad moment and I go to the store, I try not to get them that energy because if you move off positivity and all that when you dealing with people and all that, it tend to rub off instead of being negative. So and some stuff be out of your control. Like my first time doing DG Fresh. My whole day was messed up because I got to a store and the freezer was down, and that's like a complete mess up right there. If the freezer not working, they was actually working on a trailer, so and I wasn't very communicative with the supervisor, so that was an issue, you know, because I wasn't like myself. I wasn't very communicative about exactly what was going on because I didn't even really understand what was going on, being that I was new with doing DG Fresh, so that was on me too, but. That's basically my two cons. Like, All right. Now I'm gonna get into the cons with my good old DG Drive. I don't know if you probably saw a couple of the con situations in my actual vlog videos. Um, had a couple situations on the videos that you might, when it comes to like, I gotta get over. You know, one of my cons is, sometimes some of these rotainers that you deal with doing dry can be bad off. Like they can be horribly, situation could be wrong with them, like wheels and all that. And sometimes the net's not secured and, you get them. I'm gonna start with that though. Some of these rotainers can be very like mostly with when it comes to DG Fresh. Most of the rotainers and everything is on point because it's like this stuff. I think they probably maintain the rotainers better, being that they got to carry like the milk and the liquids and all that. So they kind of like probably like and there's less rotainers on these trailers on these fresh trailers than it is. So I guess they can put more more into like making sure they get only the best of the best. But some of them rotainers be getting passed for DG Drive. Don't be the best of the best, man. They be sending their very worst. Yeah, the tires and all that be all worn out, the rubber and all that, or you got the net not secured and you got low shifts and all that. That be some of the bad times with some of the bad things that can go on with DG Drive. Excuse me. Um, the road tank is full of water. They tend to be the ones that are tip on you most of the time because of the weight distribution is not always correct with the ones with the water and all that. So that'd be a bad time. Then you got the lift gates and some of the lift gates you get with these DG dry trailers be horrible sometimes, and that can cause you to have a bad day. Um, Sometimes you get to stores and they don't have enough U-boats for you. The store won't have enough U-boats, so they make you have to do some extra work, but they don't have. So yeah, that's my cons right there for DG. DG Dry right there, basically, man. Like I said, probably a lot of stuff, a lot of them situations you probably actually saw in some of the videos, so you understand exactly what I'm talking about, like first person base. But yeah, man, that's just what that is right there. So if I'm gonna compare DG Dry to DG Fresh, that's how I'm gonna compare it from my perspective. That's the verses on that. Like